What's up, everyone? I wanted to shoot a quick video. I've been posting every, I don't know, several weeks, just some different videos about some different, I think, practical tools that are helpful, things that are helpful for clients, things that I've been working on in my own personal life. And I wanted to share a few minutes with something that I think is probably like pretty obvious to most of you, but I think it's worth reiterating because even I think in all the work that I've done in counseling and in ministry, I think I'm learning more and more about it, just getting to the depths of it. But that is um, the importance of having really good community in your life. And by community, I want to define it in a couple of ways. One is, I think, the importance of embedding yourself in a community, EMBED, embed, right? It means um, like firmly placing yourself. I think I remember back in the 2000s, early 2000s, was it when they had the blinking the Iraqi war and Iraq and stuff, and they use that language embed a lot. They were talking about reporters embedding themselves with the military as they were moving through and across the country. So it's like this idea of concept of like getting in with something at a deep level. And so I think a lot of people are in community and they're living in community and they're participating in community in many ways, but they're not embedded in community in a really significant way. And there's lots of ways we could think about what embedding one means, but I'm going to attach it to a qualifier, and that is if you can embed yourself in an open community, I think that's the key. And by open, I mean this idea that you can be transparent, you can be vulnerable. There's not this like barrier. It's the sense that you can be your authentic self. I was talking to my brother-in-law 5 or 6 months ago about stuff I was working on, and he said this beautiful thing to me is that you can be fully known and fully loved. And that's, to me, I thought that's this idea of like openness. So I think what we need in our lives is to embed ourselves in an open community, a transparent community. And I think a lot of us, again, are living in communities and in situations in lives where it's not open and we're not embedded in it. There's not a lot of, I guess, maybe skin in the game in a lot of ways. It doesn't get in the dirt. Mike Foster, who many of you may know, who author, speaker, teacher, great communicator, works a lot in kind of coaching and mental health. He was at my church probably about a month ago preaching, and he talked about Jesus healing the man who was blind, and by the way he did it was he'd spit in the dirt, right, and then take that paste and rub it in the guy's eyes. And he was reflecting on that. It's about like a theology that's in the dirt, gets its hands dirty. And he quoted Brene Brown on a podcast. It was actually a podcast with Father Richard Rohr. I think she said something exactly to the effect was, I don't trust a theology that doesn't get his hands dirty. So a community that you're embedded in, when you're embedded, it's a community that gets its hands dirty in life. There's skin in the game. And it's open, meaning it's transparent. You can be yourself. You can work on things. You can ask for what you need and what you want. You can share, you can confess, and you can feel fully loved. And that's a lot to ask for in any community, right? And many of us may go our whole lives possibly trying to find that, and may find it in different seasons, different lives. But one of the places I've found it even more recently is back in November, I decided to do the Regen, or the Regeneration Recovery Ministry. Many of you may know it. It's probably bigger in certain parts of the country. Watermark Church here in Dallas is kind of the mothership of it, but it's spawned out all over the country and all over the world. And it's essentially like a 12-step recovery group, but more embedded in spiritual principles. And it's for anything, really. People come there for all kinds of issues. They might have an addiction to something. They may be struggling in a relationship. They might have suffered a severe trauma or abuse, or been through what many neuroscientists kind of refer to as small t trauma. It's just the daily battle of life that over time accumulates to a lot of just like dysfunction and issues and traumatic things in one's life. So it's a gathering of a lot of people. And I decided 5.5 months to get into this group. And you kind of start in a groundwork group where you meet with guys, and then eventually there's enough guys and you move into a closed confidential group. And I remember in my first night in groundwork, I'm not even in a closed confidential group yet. I'm in a groundwork group. I get in, I just tell them everything going on in my life. They're like, whoa, not like shocked at what I'm sharing, but just like, wow, you just put it all out there, shared all of it. And I was like, well, what else are we here to do? Right. And I've felt such freedom in that. And over the course of the last 5 months, meeting with a mentor and doing my inventory and sharing things with people has been just freeing. And what it's done has shown me actually all of the other friendships I have and the depth of them that I didn't know were there. But once I was able to like open up more, they were able to open up more, and it's increased our level of depth and embeddedness relationship with one another. The I want to call him a mystic, but the Jewish mystic, philosopher, theologian, writer, Martin Buber has a famous book called I Thou, where he talks about you're either in an I Thou relationship with someone where they are a subject, or you're in an I It. You see them as an object. And those two things are drastically different. The book Anatomy of Peace kind of plays off Buber's philosophy and says essentially you're either at war with someone or you're at peace with someone. And then the nature of that relationship dictates everything. And so I think what happens is when you move towards in-depth embedded relationships that are open, you move into that I thou relationship where you treat everybody differently, you treat everything differently. And so I'm thinking a lot about this because it's obviously a journey I'm on and have been on my entire life, and trying to help people, and thinking through in therapy how to encourage people to, get into these types of communities, whether it's one or two people, or it's a small group, or it's a large group, it's a recovery group, it's a group of friends. But I think a lot of us live life moving in and out of communities and showing up at places without being really fully known or fully loved. And I think it requires to be embedded in that community deeply. It requires you to be open and transparent. And those are risky and vulnerable things, and you might be rejected. It might not return the way that you would like to, but I think it's worth the risk. And in my own life at the age of 48, man, God has just shown me the level of depth of love I have in relationships and friendships. And I'm thankful for communities of just openness and ones that go super, super deep. Life's too short to live at the surface. So be thinking about that. Do you have a community? I would say two or more people. It could be another person, but I think there's something beautiful with more people and the reflective nature you get of a community where there's different perspectives and insight into one's life and opportunities to kind of see yourself in new ways. So get it, I encourage you to get into a community of people where you can be embedded deeply in those relationships and you can be open in those relationships. I think if you can find that, then you found something really beautiful in life. So I just want to encourage everyone to like think through those today, and I'll update you on my own journey through these things. And take a look at the last several posts I've made over the last couple months about different like aspects of things that I think are important in terms of our own growth, and we'll keep plugging along here together and growing together. Hope you guys have a good day.